remember back a couple years ago as to exactly why I joined the school committee in December of 2020. Slow down for a minute and realize who the class of 23 is. The class of 23 were freshmen in March of 2020. Now, I've got two young kids. One is in second grade at BMS, and as a parent, I'm sure many of you have heard it as well. I've always been told, be careful what you say and do around them. They're always watching. Well, you can bet the class of 23 was watching the previous committee back then, too. In addition to academics, we think of our high school years as a sort of rite of passage, a series of unique life events that prepare us to enter general society of life. We go from being 13 or 14-year-old kids to 18-year-old young adults ready to take on the world. We do this through social activities like sports, performances, clubs, proms, pancake breakfasts, spaghetti dinners, fundraisers, all sorts of other events. So I'll ask again, who is the class of 2023? Well, they were the class who were told that they can't finish their freshman year in high school. They were the class who were told they can't start their sophomore year in the classroom. They were going to pretend that remote school is a good enough education and make use of hybrid format that no one really understood. They're the juniors who were made to work through mask mandates for the majority of their year, had events canceled, and now they're seniors who have had just about every normal rite of passage that you and I take for granted stolen. Meg's email included the line, "We have made concessions for the greater good. Time for the administration and school committee to allow us to have this day without fear of retaliation." Again, that fear. They sure have made their fair share of concessions for the greater good, and they've yet to know what a normal year of high school is like. Remember, we're not done with this year yet, and if you look around at some of our neighboring communities, you can probably see certain areas gearing up to ask Meg and her classmates to make even more concessions. All they ask for is the opportunity to salvage what's left of their high school years, to come together with this incredible achievement, and I think it would be terrible not to listen to them. What I hope is that we start to see this culture shift now, this week. I talk with Superintendent Zangi and future Superintendent Costello constantly about the need to start operating as one district. How 3 years ago we stopped being 3 individual schools and became one district, and how important it is to unify our 2 elementary schools around this idea. What better opportunity could there be to do that than this week? How great would it be to see team pride at all schools this week? If the administration and teachers could make it happen on such short notice, wouldn't it be great if the players could tour around the elementary schools, talk to the young kids about what it means to be part of a team and part of the community? Have a pep rally, have the bands play, wear the team colors, show a highlight reel, encourage the young kids to get involved and participate in school activities, whether it be sports or anything else. All right, so now we're going to hear from the community, and the administration is going to share what they've come up with, and then we're going to discuss and vote as a committee. We're going to hear from the public about this, and due to the numbers, I do want to ask that you limit your comments to about 3 minutes, but I want the committee and the administration to hear exactly what this means to you, and what you think we should do this week, and in the future, when situations like this arise. So with that said, we'll open up our public comment session.
I have one request prior to coming to the meeting, Mr. Dave Arcand, and then there's some walk-ins that I've signed in on the clipboard.
Okay. Dave?
Wait, ready for here? Is that fine?
If you can speak loud enough, or there's a microphone here, I believe is on.
So good evening. I'm Dave Arcand. I'm from the town of Berlin. So I'm a parent of 2 Tohoto graduates, as well as a parent of a current player in their home football team. So I'm here tonight to make an appeal for the early release of schools on December 2nd, so everybody can attend the game that we've been referring to. So I'd ask that you consider these couple points as you make your decision. First of all, this is special. It's unique. It's maybe not once in a lifetime, but it's close. I'm not the team historian, but as far as I'm aware, these 2 schools, whether it's individual high schools or in the combined West Boylston Tohoto program, they've never made it this far in the history of playing football. In Massachusetts, there's 275 football teams playing this year. There's only 16 left. So we're in the final 6%. That's a pretty amazing number. These kids and this entire community will remember this experience for the rest of their lives. I'd ask that you please don't become part of that memory in the form of, remember when Tohoto wouldn't release school early so everybody could go watch the game. Okay? Number 2, this is a Tohoto team. They practice at West Boylston. Front of the shirt says Lions, but there's a lot of Tohoto kids on this team. With all due respect to my friends over in WB, Tohoto students easily make up half the team roster. All 4 of the team captains, who I think all over here, I think I saw them all here in the front row, are from Tohoto. 18 of the 22 starting positions on the teams are Tohoto kids. The Tohoto members of this team want and need your support as they represent this entire community in this unique experience. This is your team. This is not just WB. I'll close by saying I can't pretend to know the entirety of your criteria you must consider when you're making a decision to modify the school calendar, and you cited several reasons that I wasn't aware of. What I do know is the students in the school district have the rest of their school years, college, and their careers to focus on education and work. They have a single opportunity to represent their team at a state championship football game. Please do the right thing here. Don't end up on the wrong side of history. And go Lions.
Next up to speak, you said there's a few who signed up on the list.
Yeah.
Is here okay? Thank you. We're both nervous. Okay. My name is Mar Goulet. I'm a 2003 graduate at Tohoto. My parents are graduates at Tohoto. My husband's a teacher at Tohoto. My daughter's in preschool at Tohoto. I have a daughter in 2nd grade at VPS. So it's in our blood to be Stag fan and against everything I know to be a Lions fan. So for you guys to know, for me to support this team, it helps that they're mostly Tohoto. Okay. I emailed Mr. Zangi and Mrs. Costello earlier this week when I first heard about the MIAA's decision to play this game at the least opportune time for anyone that works or attends the school. I was on the fence about coming to read it out loud because I've never done anything like this previously, but after speaking to my nephew Bobby Humphrey last night, I chose to come. Bobby would obviously love the support of the entire district, but feels a little strange to have to beg for it. I told him that I would come and read my email and let everyone know that yes, it would mean so much to him as a captain of this great team to have his classmates, teachers, and administration supporting them in the most important game of their career. I'd also like to say that regardless of the decision made tonight, my family, including my husband, the teacher at Tohoto, my daughter at Tohoto Preschool, and my daughter at VES will be taking time off school to attend. We believe this is an important community event that will create lasting memories for our family, and we also believe it will show our kids that hard work does pay off, sometimes in the form of getting to play at Gillette Stadium. And that wasn't many notes, I'm sorry. Okay, my email is, I'm reaching out first and foremost as a supporter of the state finalist West Boylston varsity football team. Secondly, I'm reaching out as a parent of their biggest fan. This is an unprecedented time for our school district and one that I believe should be fully celebrated. Although the boys wear West Boylston on their shirts and helmets, they are at their core a Tohoto team. They are packed with stars from Boylston and Berlin, and I believe their peers and teachers deserve the time to cheer them on as they play on the historic field at Gillette Stadium. Having grown up in Boylston and lived here my entire life, I know moments like this could potentially be once in a lifetime. If you could possibly find it in your heart to give kids and staff an early release to celebrate this momentous occasion, I believe we could do more for the district morale and overall happiness than any 3 hours of schooling possibly could. My daughter is a 2nd grader at VES, and regardless of your decision, she will be released early that day to watch her cousin and biggest idol, Bobby Humphrey, in his final high school game of his career. I know it would mean the world to him to have his teammates who have worked their entire lives for this moment, to have their fans who have cheered for them at every game along the way, be able to also cheer for them when it means the most. Sports at Tohoto are doing so well recently. I think showing support for our athletes will go a long way with your goals to retain students in the district. I know West Boylston has already declared a half day for their staff and students. Please follow their lead on this one and give these kids the respect and fanfare they have earned and truly deserve. Thanks for your thoughtful consideration on this matter.
Hello, and thank you for allowing me to speak today. I'm Meg Edwards. My twin brother John has been on the team for the last 3 years, and I've been watching him play since he was 5. I'm a student here at Tohoto and a senior in the class of 2023. As you know, our peers on the Lions football team have had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to play at Gillette. It is important to the students and faculty, as well as the community, to go and support the achievements of our football team. They have worked tremendously hard this season and deserved as many people as they possibly can supporting them. The student body, especially the class of 2023, has missed out on a lot of opportunities in our past 4 years of high school, or 3 years of high school. This is quite possibly the seniors' last opportunity to be together outside of school, and we would appreciate the support of the administration and school committee in making this happen. I submitted a petition with over 80 signatures, and I gathered it in just 1 day. Thank you.
JD McNabb.
Hey guys, thanks for letting me speak. I didn't really prepare anything, but what I can tell you is, have any of you in your high school days had a team that played in the state finals? Can any of you raise your hand? You did? Who did?
I did not play.
Oh, no, but did you have a team that played?
Yeah, Shrewsbury did actually. I think.
Shrewsbury did. Who did they
Yeah.
play? Do you remember what year?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's
I
okay.
graduated class of 2002. But I know Coach Collins, so
That's all.
yes, it was when he was coaching.
Great. I didn't have a team that played in the state finals, but when I was in 7th grade, I went to Neshoba Regional, and the boys soccer team in 1990 went to the state finals. They played Duxbury. They won 3-2, right? I didn't have any friends on the team. I didn't have any brothers or sisters on the team. But you want to it's part of the community. And I went and supported those kids, just like I'll do for these kids. All right? Now here's the thing. Listen, I'm so glad you read that email, because if it was the band team at Symphony Hall, I would be there. If it was the drama team, the drama club that made it to the stage, I would be there. And if you look around, you can ask all these parents that are at the games. I'm at the games. I'm at the basketball games. I don't have a daughter that plays basketball. I'm at the basketball games. I don't have a son that plays basketball. I'm at the field hockey games. I'm at the soccer games. I'm at the boys soccer games. I go to all the games. Why? Because I'm a part of this community, and I want change. What I've seen I have an 11th grader and an 8th grader. What I've seen in the 5 years, we moved to town 17 years ago. In the last 5 or 6 years, we need change, right? And we have the opportunity to do that now, right? We have open positions coming up. We have rotating people onto school committee. Let's be the change. Change for good, right? We're a community. We need to do it together. And these kids deserve it. If most people knew, and I know the girls soccer team, the boys soccer team, they all put in a lot of work. If you know what the day looks like for some of these kids, it's weight room in the morning before school. It's school, and they all do really well at school, right? So take that off the table. It's not missing the school. They all do really well at school, right? Then it goes weight room at night after everything's done for team. Then you play a game, right? Then you have 3 days to get your body ready for another day of practice, right? Some of those days aren't pretty, right? You're not walking right. You're not walking, right? You're banged up, you're bruised, you're cut, right? You need help, you need tubs, right? You need to get ready. These kids deserve our support. And they've put in the time, and now it's our turn to support. We need to put in the time. Thank you very much.
Last on the list is Alma Caramanica. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name.
Hi, I'm Alma. This is my twin brother. I'm speaking on behalf of the class of 2024. A lot of you may know, a lot of our grade is on the Lions football team. We as a class want to support our friends that we have spent so much time with these past years at Tohoto. While we know academics are important, this is pretty much a once in a lifetime experience. Our own players are playing at Gillette Stadium, the same field that the Patriots play on. That's pretty cool. So what we ask for is your support, whether it's a fan bus or a half day, or just no penalization for whoever leaves during the day to go to the game. I went to a student council conference a couple weeks ago, and most of it was about bringing more spirit into our schools after we lost 2 years. We need more spirit, and I think whether it's a concert or a field hockey game, this is a great start to shift back into a normal, preppy, peppy school. It's not just obviously it's about football, but it's bigger than that too. It's other kids looking up to these people, and it's yeah. Thank you.
There's nobody else on the list. Would anybody else like to say something? I see some discussion going on in this room here. Let's say anything. Your name, sir?
I'm Jake O'Brien.
Yep.
I think I'm the only one from West Boylston on the team here. It's all right. I mean, not a lot of starters from West Boylston anyways, but it's all right. We got a lot of support from West Boylston already. A lot of our fans and our students come to the game, and that's because of the half day. If we didn't have the half day, we wouldn't have as many people coming as I know that there are. And to have double that amount with Tohoto support, that's even better. Small schools both ways, that's why we're co-op. So the more fans, the better. The sport really does help. I know I play on the team, so I know what it's like to have fans cheering you on when you make a big play. And when you make it this far to a stage like this at Gillette Stadium, it's amazing. So having fans there to support you, more than merrier. Thank you.
Anybody else? Final last call. All right, we'll then move on to our discussion. Jeff, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, so when we look at these kind of decisions, we can really consider a couple things. First is safety. Spent all of my 30 years teaching at the high school level, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen kids late for something, going out and parking out 2 years. And so the last thing we want is students rushing to an event and getting hurt because they're trying to do a 2-hour drive in 30 minutes. So that's one of the things we consider. The other thing we consider is whether we're doing something that's inclusive or not. And there's a question here of whether you're going to release earlier than you did through the elementary school. And I think we need to get some kind of reason why we're leaving was. I think Mr. Topman touched on it. But also, you have to realize that there are a lot of families who have students at the elementary school and the middle school, and sometimes even at the high school. So, and also we're in the people business. So teachers get attached to these kids. They work with them for a long time, and so they want to participate in these events with kids too. So there are really 3 options that we considered with the high school. One was the excused absence. Those are logistical problems with that. There are things that probably were concerned with, like how many lunches we put in for the day, how many notes come in that really aren't real notes that we have to track down. It just becomes a logistical problem. The other is the half day. This requires a vote by the school committee. The reason it requires a vote by the school committee is because it's a half day, and it would have to be made up. And then the third option was an early release, which doesn't require a vote by the school committee. And in that case, it would be an early release for the high school and elementary school at 12:30. And that in the elementary school at 1:30. It doesn't require the date to be made up. It doesn't require a vote, it doesn't require any kind of calendar change. The lunches will run as usual, the high school and the elementary school, so that isn't an issue. Some families, that is an issue to be able to consider. Certainly, the high school administrators have some flexibility in someone needing some extra time. So that's really the one we were considering the most, because it gives the most amount of time in school and still gives the flexibility of getting to the event without rushing too much. The elementary school would run the after-school program, so most of the families who utilize the after-school program have daycare issues, so that will all be taken care of. So it's the one that makes sense to us. Of course, if the school committee decides to instead just vote on a half day, we can work around that also. But the one we would recommend is the early, which is 12 for the high school.
Jeff, sorry, I didn't realize half days had to be made up, so would you have to make up a half day? We would just add a half day onto the calendar if we did vote a half day?
Right.
Okay.
So we'd have to schedule it, we'd have to schedule the full day. But we made it a half day.
So we have
Half days
to,
have to be.
so we'd have to schedule a full day, so it adds a day onto the school year
We'd have a day on it.
for teachers and
Everybody.
students. And then we'd have to vote if we agree to make that a half day as well, or?
Yeah, I would say you know. But it has a date for the calendar.
It adds a day, yeah, I got it, okay.
Yeah, you still have to get up and do work, so.
And what's the time difference on an early, so a half day, what is it, 11:45 at elementary?
And then 11:50, I believe, at the high school.
So you're talking 10:56 and early release, you said the earliest you could do without having to make it up would be 12.
Well, we decided when we talked to the high school administration, 12:30, because it's when their lunch is done, so they can get all their lunches done, they can plan for that, so we wouldn't have to worry about that.
12:30, so it's an hour and a half.
And then the 1:30 at the elementary school, they typically get out at 3:15. That's 2.5 hours. And again, if somebody approached the principal and said, we really need some extra time to get there, that's fine, I'm sure they have the flexibility to do that, nobody's going to be watching.
Any other questions?
Yeah. So, first of all, I just want to reiterate what Mr. Topman said to the football team. Congratulations, really. No matter how the game turns out on Friday, you should be very proud of yourselves, but we're looking forward to celebrating victory Friday afternoon. I also want to say congratulations to the students and the community in the school. As the many emails came in, honestly, I felt proud of you all for pulling together and rallying around something that was important to you. It was really nice to see. We've got brothers and sisters getting along. It's great. I want you to know that I think I can probably speak for everybody here that you have our unanimous support as a team and with your accomplishments. And I think the discussion really is how do we facilitate this among the logistical challenges, because the devil is always in the detail. That's kind of what Mr. Todd and Mr. Zank are getting at. So, in the discussions I've had with the other committee members, I can tell you that we support you 100%. That's not the question. I hope you understand that. It's just a matter of navigating the details and making this something that works out for everybody.
I'm hoping that we can
we can sort that through. A concern that I have also heard through contact with the committee from elementary school parents specifically is that, you know, there are some that are more removed from the athletics of Tohoto, right, as they have been engaged, we're not there yet. And some of those parents do depend on their kids being in school, they have jobs. So my question is, Jazang, if you were to apply the after-school program starting today, when would that conclude at normal school dismissal?
No,
Or would it conclude at the end of the after-school program?
it wouldn't be one more.
So coverage for parents, families,
Not at all. For the ones who are in that program.
Do you have to be in the program to take part in it if you're not in the
Yes.
program?
Yeah, because there's a lot of paperwork and responsibility that the students. But as I said, most of the families who utilize that program, they do because they have issues. And after that was a issue with the elementary.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? So is the point of moving the dismissal time to 12:30 to be able to facilitate 3 lunches and not to have to make up a day? So
Want to make
if,
up a day or not? Raise your hand. That seems-
yeah, they would be there anyways.
What about Karen?
I just want to have.
There are people who completely removed from this issue. We're talking about 1,000 kids total,
Well, you have that covered in it.
but we have,
So
a
that's
lot
that.
of them depend on the lunches.
So for the lunches we just talked earlier, I hope you understand.
Maybe have to.
But just to be clear, the elementary school children that are already enrolled in after school have coverage. But those that aren't, which is the majority.
Only if we do an early release. My understanding is that if we vote on a half day, then no after school, right, Jeff?
We didn't check for the half day, I'm sure we could work on that. We did ask for the, we did this early release, that would be able to run quite a bit. So we could work on that. I guess that's a long time. That's even a long period of time.
Right.
To do that program.
Right, because it would be,
We have some extra.
Yeah, I would see
That's it.
new to grade grade, new to science or elementary, it would be 11:45.
Did you consider just releasing Toronto, keeping elementary schools in this group?
We did, but again, we don't get that inclusive. Families of the elementary school, children who are elementary and high school. and they might be interested in going there. There are teachers who have the students when they're in the elementary school, they may not attend. And so I think if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it. It's, we're talking about 2 hours in one day. So, yeah. If we were talking about acquiring some kind of state championship, I would have the exact same condition. I think it gives families enough time to get to the game. It gives the maximum amount of time in school and it gives families a chance to. And again, as I said, the high school administration has some flexibility. Somebody comes in and says, you know, we need a little extra time, and yeah, but they can do that.
I wanted to ask you a question too. So there's a lot of talk about penalization, and I understand like at the high school level, there's certain classes we have to have attendance for them. At the elementary school, like Mr. Holmes said, I had a lot of communication concern about working parents trying to figure that out, and probably many do take care of, you know, use the after-school program, but many don't. So I guess at the elementary school level, I didn't think, or even at high school, like the dismissal was not tracked like a tardy or an absence or penalized as the same for dismissals. I don't know if I was missing something or skipped a
What's the question?
paragraph. So I guess if we were to separate Tohoto and the middle school from the elementary schools for an early release, I don't understand if there would be any penalization for someone to dismiss their child early from elementary school.
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't, but you also run into the problem with people, they put in lunches. So all that stuff has to be planned before. So you don't know what's going to get like that now. It doesn't give teachers the opportunity to go through, again, that's, give regionalized performance. So, and I think that most of the has some kind of child care issue. That part of the program. You're not really, unless you're not a teacher, you're not getting out of your child. So I guess that's,
Some have arranged their work schedules for that, and nursing 7 to 3.
yeah.
Is there a way to create an opportunity for parents that do feel like they're in a line and aren't already pre-registered for after school to, even though there's a few days, to take advantage of it if they get offended?
I thought at I can only speak for BES, I don't know the other schools. I thought at BES, if you wanted to do after school, like for just a day, just, no? Oh, that's morning, okay.
I think we did that at BMS as well.
Jess just said it's morning, I think she's right, it's just the morning. Like, you don't have to have a reservation, you can just show up and they bill you at the end of the month. But they only do that for mornings, I guess you're right, after school, you did have to register and you had to pick your days. Yep, she's right, okay. Let me ask this question, kind of going along what Jess was saying about credit and, like, so for these high school kids, we do an early release, like the players, I would assume they're gonna have to leave, I don't know, at 10 o'clock in the morning, and what time does the game start, 2, 3? The game starts at 3, so these kids are gonna have to leave at what time to get there? Sorry. Okay, so if we do an early release at 12, they're still all gonna have to get dismissed early, correct? What is that gonna do to these kids? Are they gonna be penalized because?
No, it doesn't affect that. I mean, they play sports, so it's like any other day, they have a late game, you have to be early, they don't get penalized. So it doesn't affect, it doesn't affect the player. We're talking about people. None of this does, even if you had a 4-day school, it's not going to affect them.
Oh, okay.
This is geared towards families who want to go.
So what if a student wants to leave, they'll get out of school at noon, they can just go, that'll be plenty of time. Yeah, like, no, high school, what time did you say high school gets out at noon?
Maybe 12:30.
12:30.
No, for early release.
12:30.
Oh, early release is 12:30. I'm just thinking if we did,
regularly?
no, I mean early release, like if we did this early release, I want, like, I get the point of not wanting to do the half day, right? Because then everybody has to make it up, including the teachers, so we're saying, okay, you gotta do an extra work day. There might be some teachers out there that are like, don't really care about football. So, 12:30 will be enough time from high school, yeah.
Matt, can you weigh in on this? I don't understand.
No, I just want to make sure if we did do an early release, would the students in the school have enough time to get to the
Yes.
stadium, get to the
12:30,
seats?
yes, we'll have a bus here at 1 o'clock for the fans, you're gonna,
They eat their lunch, get on the bus, go.
basically, yes. 12:30 will be. Yeah, I mean, the football team's gonna be out whenever we have to get them out, whether that's 10, 10:30, 11. We've had games, we've had state games already that we had at 2 o'clock. The reason this is an early game is because, so they get all the games in. Because of daylight savings, with the soccer teams, with the field hockey team, we've had to go an hour and a half away, and we had a 2 or 2 o'clock game, and we had to get them out by 12 o'clock. So they're gonna get to us Boylston, then they're gonna go from us Boylston to get to the game, so I mean, they're gonna be dismissed. But for the fans, anyone going to this game, yes, we're gonna have buses here for the fans that want to be here for 1 o'clock. I know they never want to, we do that multi-floor.
So Megan, we consulted with that before we came up with 12:30, plan. again, we're, but we have made it up now, so we're playing account and things like that, so. I mean, you have the option to go on a half day if you want to, so it's all your fault. If you don't, that's what.
I did not realize half days had been made up. I thought when we put a half day on the calendar, it counted as a full day in the 186 or whatever the count is.
Yeah,
83 or whatever.
in that case, it does in that case, but not you taking a full day, school and everything, it's like a snow day.
But if a half day on a school
That
calendar,
has to be made up.
No, I think she's just trying to understand if a half day counts.
full day.
Why does a full day not count as a half day?
That isn't a full day on the.
Well, we're shrinking it to the half day. If a half day counts.
It's a difference
as a full day.
in the schedule versus changing the schedule.
Yeah.
Because we're changing the schedule. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, I know you don't make the rules, I get it.
No, it's made by the state.
Yeah, no, I get it.
We have a comment down here as well.
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to ask, so I know as a senior, we have something called like senior privilege, where at the end of the day, if we study, we're allowed to, leave early. And I was wondering if maybe that could be possible to do during the lunch walk. So if people had already had plans for lunch, if their families need to go like together, and they might have like siblings at daycare that need to go pick up, or do errands before they need to go to the game, would there be a way that we could have them bring in like permission notes beforehand, being like, I want to pick up my child at that time, and they will be penalized for it, and they would be able to just miss that lunch walk.
You talk about in addition to the early release, so the early release, and then they can, yeah, that's what I'm just talking about. So they have the flexibility.
Okay, so that they're being able to have parents sign a note, and then they could leave at 10:56.
Yeah, if they need extra time.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's something to consider too, the students that are just gonna get dismissed to the school despite their early release because they're leaving with their twin brother or whomever. You know what I mean? So the front office has to be prepared for who knows how many dismissals are going to come. So in an effort to fix on one end, and create maybe a disaster.
To my recollection, like if you count for a day of attendance, you have to be at 10:56 if you're not on the team.
No, they said it's
I couldn't hear that. Could you speak up?
My recollection of high school, you had to begin until like 10:56, whatever the half day would be to get the attendance for the day. Is that true? Yes, but I know this is a different, sorry. Yes, I mean, not for the. Yes, for regular, so that would.
So here's the other thing, if we made it a half day and you have to make it a full day, why wouldn't you just cancel school that day? I mean, I'm not trying to overcomplicate, I'm just like, if you have to, we're talking about hours here, it's like, what if you just canceled school that day, like a snow day, and you made it up?
You can do that too.
Well, I'm just saying, if you have to make it a full day, to get a half day, you have to make it a full day, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, why would we go for the half day?
The recommendation is the early release.
Yeah, I hear that.
So 12:30, 1:30, covers all those questions, covers all everything, lunches, get the kids home, get the kids to after school that need it. So I think the recommendation is an early release. Don't have to make it up in the future. Go have fun at the game, go win the game, eat lunch, you gotta fuel up for the game, get the carbo load. So we could have a vote right now, just to approve an early release and that covered, or would someone like to make a different motion?
So can I just ask a clarifying question? We keep saying early release, but we're talking 12:30 to 1:30. That's opposite of that's different from an early release, right? It's an earlier release.
But
It was either an early release, which we would have to make up again.
No, half day would have to be made up.
Right,
Early
but if we
release-
did the 12:30 and the 1:30, then it would be an early release, we wouldn't have to make it up. Just want to clarify, it's hard to figure out.
what is that?
I'll make So do I have a motion to approve a calendar change for early release on December 2nd, 2022?
We'll forget that, just a moment. I have a motion. Okay. I do want to just poke on the after school one more time. Can we commit to really exploring if we can create that as an option for families during the time? On short notice.
Do you want to weigh in on this? I don't know. Because I know there's a liability issue with this. I hate to talk about this, but I know there's a liability issue. Kids after school in some direction, so we'll look into it. But I don't think we can show you that. If it's going to roughly 9%. And we'll get nothing that we think. But, you know, you have to be done, you only have to teach well. That's one thing. Another safety issue.
Yeah.
Because staff can be looked at to see how many additional spots can be looked at, if people are really committed to keeping it a district-wide decision.
I mean, if it's low impact to the elementary school, then it should be low impact to the child. If it's,
Well, I think it is. Well, if you buy into this, you know, the belief that most of the parents and daycare institutions put their children in after school program, from that standpoint, it is low.
yeah, it's the parents that are.
Yeah. I don't think there's a solution to this.
Any last questions? Any other comments from anyone, Kevin, Sally? No? All right. We don't need that.
I'm just trying to understand this. I just don't understand why we don't stick with the half day. The football players are leaving at 11, the school closes at 11, everybody rallies out, and that's good. To create
I like
that
that.
culture. Let's do this as a community. Now, like, they're going, and then maybe the sisters are going, boyfriends and girlfriends, offices bombed with dismissals. I don't know. I don't know. I need to have more discussion about this, not to be the dead horse.
Are you talking about the elementary and high school?
Yeah, no, I think the elementary school would be fine with dismissals.
Unless there's kids that have siblings that.
Yeah, but it's a small,
But it would be a small,
yeah, it's here at the school, that is the biggest
Yeah.
issue. I think, you know, we're having this discussion, but we need to consider what is gonna happen in elementary school. If we can't provide that care, then we have to, either parents have to pivot. It stinks. Again, it'll happen when your time will come too, right? I don't think it's enough to say we have to get lunches in. I don't want to look at the day if we boys deserve. That's-
Well, I know Janelle's not here, but there's something close to 20% of kids who I think are relying on these lunches. You know,
We do
have to
that
consider
anyways on a half day.
What's that?
We do that anyways on a half
I
day.
think they can take their lunches. What, Jeff, what happens on a half day?
We don't have to.
Yes, you can opt in on a half day for lunch, yeah. At any school, you would just miss your last period and you go eat your lunch. So regardless if it's a half day or a early release, if you need lunch, you get lunch.
I think the difference though at the elementary level, like versus the 11:45 half day dismissal for the elementary, like that's, if you're gonna try to work a half day, that's
Really?
So I think, you know, the early release considers that at least.
Do you want to make a motion?
Jeez, Mr. Chair. Okay, words here. I make a motion that we just keep it as a regular half day, or we dismiss the time of business. All of those are dismissed.
So district-wide have to.
Yes, I think, yes. Correct, thank you.
I'll
So there's a
second.
motion for half day.
Yeah, the original half day.
So, yeah. And I'll second her motion.
David?
Aye.
Second is, you want to discuss it?
You want-
Yes.
Let's do it.
Can't be done discussing.
Let's do it.
Discuss, just to
We have
clarify,
everybody agree, let's just do it.
the difference here that we're voting on is, schools get out, elementaries are 11:45. It's 10:56 here at Tohoto. We think this will alleviate potentially some front office dynamics with dismissals. You just pull the Band-Aid off the whole district, let everybody go do what they want to do and support the team, right? Is after-school care still within play?
They said unsure, right?
Just in general, is it an equivalent option? As it exists now.
For a half day, you can still do half, if we do a half day, you can still do half.
They have not.
That's not confirmed. So you guys don't know.
They confirm.
And then the makeup day would have to be contracted, like, that's a contract thing.
I'm still trying to understand why a half day on the school calendar counts as a full day. If we turn a day into a half day, it has to be made up. Like, I don't get it.
Probably for another training session, right?
So why would there be a difference between the ability to provide after-school care on a early release day versus a half day?
Yeah, it's an hour and a half. We're talking an hour and a half.
We would have to ask, we would have to ask,
Has that discussion?
yeah. I mean, we just didn't check, I'm not saying it was good, we didn't, we go, we just didn't check that out.
So that's a possibility of
Yeah.
this. Okay, well, that's all right.
It's 6 hours and back versus 4 hours.
I don't think we did now, we didn't check it, so. Let's check.
You check your remote?
You bet.
Can I ask you just a question about motions? I apologize. So the motion's on the table for a half day right now. Can another motion be made for another one, or does that be an amendment to that
You
motion?
can amend this. You can motion to amend it. Or we can vote on this for,
I would like to put forth an amendment to the current motion to move it to the early release that was recommended. The 12:30 to 1 hour.
we need to amend it down. So, you want to take a vote on the motion for half this?
That's not an amendment.
Are you ready to vote on the motion for half this? Are you ready for a vote on the motion to have a half day this December second? All in favor?
Half
Opposed?
day this, I'm in favor of that.
I'm in favor, aye, I'm an aye as well.
3. Opposed? Yes? You're an aye? All right, I'm an aye as well, so the half day passes.
All right.
Good job.
Good job.